I don't know about you, but I love learning from friendly, ambitious people who have had success. And I'm very thankful for the show because I get to interview them on a regular basis. And today is no different. I have Mark Powers, an inventor, an author, a speaker, and business expert. And we're going to be talking about how to grow your business, what it takes to build relationships, the important things. Have you ever wanted to invent a product? He's done it. And I'm going to let him share what he's doing with that right after I bring him up and we thank our sponsor. Winning with Google in 2020? Of course you want to. I'd advise Google search, advertising, and YouTube specialist Rosh Sillers. Download the free Winning with Google in 2020 guide at eainterviews.com/Rosh tips. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mark Powers. Mark, how are you feeling today?
Hey, I am feeling fantastic, Mario. Thanks for having me. How about you?
I'm feeling great. I'm excited to have you on because
Yeah,
Can you hear me okay?
I hear you fine. Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm excited to have you on because I've seen what you're doing and it's very inspiring.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been told I move at the speed of now.
I like that. So why entrepreneurship? Why business?
Boy, why entrepreneurship? Why business? I enjoy people. I enjoy exploring the outer limits of possibility. I enjoy just everything I can do to be someone better than I was yesterday. And I found as an entrepreneur, you're constantly challenging yourself. You're constantly challenging an industry, and you're trying to do things in some cases that no one's ever done before, or trying to make things a little bit more efficient and better. I think those are probably the top reasons. Helping people too.
And I love that you've done it in so many facets because you have your product, you have your clients, you have your multiple businesses. And
Yes.
have you had this knack since an early age just to want to improve things?
Yeah, it's funny, and I've actually I'll share a little story I've never shared with anybody, and I was literally probably about 8 years old when I first wanted to be an entrepreneur. I grew up in an entrepreneur family for the most part, and as an 8-year-old boy, I just needed to find something that could keep me out of trouble, right? So my brother and I actually started making or repairing bicycles. We were in the BMX and freestyle and all those tricks, kind of riding bikes, and we started fixing bikes around the neighborhoods. And I think that's kind of how it got started. And then from there, just over the years, I traveled a lot and saw a lot and met a lot of really good people and had some really good ideas. Now it's time to get to work and try to bring some of those ideas to fruition.
I love that. What age were you when you were doing all that?
Traveling most of my 20s and 30s.
The bike repair.
I was 8 years old.
I started my
Yeah.
first company at 12.
Wow, nice.
And
Good
I
job.
remember I had, do you remember Dino?
I did. In fact, my brother Todd rode a dyno. I had a Haro.
Okay. I had the
Yeah.
comp,
Which one?
the Dino comp.
That is exactly what my brother had. Yep. Yep. I'm not gonna tell you what color was it, but he had a pink dyno comp.
Oh, no
You
kidding. I
know,
got the
right
black with the green splash on it. I could ride it backwards and
Nice.
I rode it 2 streets backwards.
Did you really?
Yep.
Look at you go. Now, kicking the tire on the back
What's that?
that way, backward, riding it backwards while you're kicking the tire as a freestyle bike. Used to do freestyle trick
Sitting on
route.
the handlebars, riding it backwards, pedaling backwards.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've done. Yeah, haven't done that.
There
That's
was
good.
it was cool. Just I mean, even in the engineering with that, with the gyro on the handlebars, and just I mean, I love the idea of people having ideas and just going, let's make this. I mean, planes,
Yeah.
cars, trains, anything, and even what you've created. Why don't you talk about the your product?
Oh, yeah, it's my current mindset right now. I am. I invented the step flame back in 2010, And I wanted a better way to enhance my own fire experience. So literally on a Friday night, 2010, after a couple bottles of wine, started to realize, wow, there's got to be a better way than having to spend most of my time maintaining this fire. I want to start enjoying a fire. And after, a couple hours of trying to brainstorming, the very next day I went down to my home office, opened up Photoshop and Illustrator, and I started just kind of putting together some ideas. And I came up with 17 product designs. I was so excited and so determined. And at this time I was married, and I brought up that morning, her name is Melissa, when I got done designing, I said, look, and she goes, oh, you found a product online. I said, no, this is our product. I just invented this. I just designed it. By the way, I might have sent an email to a buddy of mine in a distribution. I wasn't a company yet. I didn't even have a patent yet. So my buddy got it, and he goes, Mark, this is a really good idea. If you take this to market, I will carry and distribute your product. I said, give me some time. So literally about 6 months goes by. I started doing aggressive research and development, heat tests, product, the type of metals. And we went through a lot of products. It started out as a 3-tier. It was too big. Literally, I had my neighbor came over next door. I had a foot flame shooting out my fireplace. And I was doing a lot of testing. Come to find out, a 2-tier was the best way to go. Long story short, I go to Orlando to the Hearth Patio Barbecue Expo, the largest indoor-outdoor patio expo in the world. And I just wanted to see if I can find some retailers and hopefully a manufacturer. So I'm down there for almost 4 days. Judging, the day of judging, I find out I'm nominated for a product award. I didn't know what that meant. I honestly just became a new company. At this time, I took a risk. I didn't even have my patent yet. But I needed to see if there was some real substance behind this product, some interest. So the day of the judging, we're all in this big cathedral room, whatever, this big room, almost looks like you're at the Emmy Awards. And it's called the Vesta Award. My name gets called up on the big Jumbotron. They have a picture of me, my product, and I end up winning the most innovative product award in the United States, and it's called the Vesta Award for this category. This is the first time in 17 years that the HPBA has awarded a first-time entry startup company. I had industry people scratching their head like, who is this guy? What is this product? Companies like Napoleon, Weber, big brands in the industry. So I walked away. I'm like, well, it's confirmed. People like the product. Right away, manufacturers started reaching out to me. After a careful selection, I picked Hi-C Company out of St. Louis, Missouri. I was very adamant about having a U.S. product at that time. It still is manufactured in St. Louis. And I didn't want to run it as a company, though, because I was still running my business as other companies I had, my wine publication, and I was just getting ready to launch my wine brand, Melmar Wines. So I licensed to them for 5 years. So we've been in Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, Amazon, still are. And the product sells. And right now, it was about a month ago, I get this call from the producers of Shark Tank. We saw your product. We want to learn more. Can you pitch to us in Detroit? That was 3 weeks ago. And last week, I get the phone call from the producers out of Los Angeles. I made it to the next round. So that's what I was doing today. I was telling you. Thank you. So I've been busy. I've been busy getting ready for Shark Tank. I've been busy to get this product to the next level, and then obviously, my other stuff I'm working on. So staying focused.
So I have no doubt where you're going in the future, but let's rewind a little bit, because you just so casually mentioned a few things in there, and there's a few things you didn't even mention, and I want to know, what kind of mindset does it take to go, I don't have the patent, I don't have this, I don't have this, I don't have that, I'm going to do it anyway.
What type of a mindset? Stubborn,
because there's so many people that go, even recently someone said to me, they said something and it was like they couldn't see what I see, so they kind of downplayed it, and I just kind of brush it off now, like I'm not even going to explain myself. I'm not speaking to 1,000 people in the audience, whatever. I got stuff to do. but it's just, it kind of saddens me because a lot of people have it. It's like, I'll believe it when I see it attitude.
Right.
And you have to see, I know you have to see it in your mind first. What's your experience with having the mindset of none of this exists and I'm going to make it?
Oh, how do you do that? So, one, I think I mean, hold on a second. I'm so sorry. I'm stubborn. I really am. I am somebody who you'll never tell me I can't do something, because I will. I'll just do it to spite people in most cases. But, I'm a smart guy. I do a lot of research. I'm not going to chance anything. I'm going to make sure that if I do start up a new venture or a product or have an idea, I'm going to vet it through and do my research. As a marketer for 25 years, I'm used to that. I'm used to understanding product development and doing the necessary research, understanding audiences and audience segmentation, and trying to get them to want, desire my product and convert and buy. So my mindset is, if as long as I have a few checkpoints, it's a valid idea. There's a market in need. There's a problem that I can solve. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I just need to be able to make it more efficient, or, just a little better, then I'm good to go. So, for example, step flame. I'm not the first person. I didn't invent the fire grate, but I sure did take it to a new level, right? And by adding a second tier to it, by adding a removable ash pan, I made cleaning easy. I centralize heat. I give you a full, bold fire experience. And it's beautiful. It's a gorgeous product. It assembles in less than 60 seconds, no tools needed. So these are all the kind of things when I'm building a product or coming up with an idea, I'm trying to think of application. Where can it be used? Home, retail, mountain resorts, mountain communities. Those are just to name a few. So the mindset is, you gotta believe in yourself. You gotta love yourself, believe in yourself, and then do your homework and make sure that you've got as much as you can do, like a check and balance as much as you can. But guess what? Doesn't mean it's gonna work. You might fail, and I have failed so many times, Mario, and I will continue to fail. But I learn. You gotta be passionate, crazy too. A little crazy's juice there has to be a part of it.
I think you need a healthy dose of it, not just a little.
Maybe it might.
That's a perfect segue into the second part of, what do you do when it doesn't work? How do you pick yourself up and keep going?
So I've had that. Even with the step flame, I've had moments, because when I typically create a product, most of the time I'm 2, 3, sometimes I've been told 5 years ahead of an innovation curve. And in this particular case, step flame was about 5 years ahead of itself for market readability or readiness. And so you get to market, you spend a tremendous amount of time and money and effort. You get it looks like everything's ready to go, but then sales don't happen. It took time. It took about a year after we launched to really start getting progress there, because manufacturing costs were too high. Our wholesale, our retail prices were too high. Distribution wasn't as strong. Marketing wasn't as strong. So these are things that we were just like, oh my God, I'm failing. This is going to fail. And then it just started to, and it hasn't yet really taken off. It's still growing. It's consistent, but it hasn't just leaped into the marketplace and just at every shelf of every store around in the U.S. So that is something I'm excited for this upcoming opportunity. If I do get some, when I do get accepted, I guess, on Shark Tank, that's going to help solve some of those problems. But outside of that, you just got to keep going. Failure is part of the successful process. You have to keep going. You have to get up. You have to be tough. You have to be thick-skinned. You have to be humble, and you have to know that every single day, if you're doing something that better you, to make yourself stronger, better, you're going to be a happy person. And guess what? It's going to reflect, or other people are going to notice that, and you're going to make other people happy and wanting to be around you.
Why do you think so many people are afraid of failure?
It's just it's the fabric in which humans are designed. We are not easy creatures to deal with pain and suffering, and it's a lot of pain and suffering when you fail. Some people don't want to take the financial risk. Some people, it may not be a financial risk. It might be, I'm not, maybe they're not good in front of being the face of a company, having to be in front of, cameras like this. I think people are comfortable following, that's why the majority of humans or people work, right? Nothing against that, but those that have jobs want that security. In their mind, that is security. My vast experience, jobs were not secure, right? Most of the time I'd get a job and for whatever reason, they have their right and reason to let you go, or, oh, the project's done, we don't need you anymore. Well, being self-employed, I said, I'm going to make sure that I always stay busy. I'm always staying ahead of the curve of the money and everything that I was doing when I was employed. So it's not always easy. As I'm sure, Mario, being an entrepreneur, you're up and you're going to bed late. You're constantly improving who you are as a person, and it's a battle at times, But boy, the successes are there, and you gotta embrace them.
I want to dive deep into your clients that you help. What is one of the biggest success stories you've had for someone you've helped?
Biggest. Well, I've worked from solopreneurs all the way to some of the biggest brands on the planet. And some of those brands are like, General Motors, Ford, and Adobe. When I was at GM, for example, I was a global senior web strategist, and I traveled a lot. And I was responsible for how they went to market online and worked with an amazing group of people around the world. And when I joined that organization back in 2006, I left in October of 2010. I was tasked to help transform General Motors in terms of how they go to market online, right? The web strategy, right? For the most part. So their web strategy at the time was pretty fragmented. It was siloed, and they spent millions and millions upon, millions of dollars on redundant processes and tools. So at the end of the day, after 3 years of working closely with my teams across the U.S. or the world, and with really good agency partners, we built and implemented a strategy that saved General Motors, when I left, over $250 million when they were spending a tremendous amount more. I mean, it was a lot of money they were spending. So we saved them a lot of money. That was a big, and they still follow the strategy to this day, I'm told. Some smaller companies, some smaller brands, we've launched, I've been involved with other publications and brands in the health and fitness space, and taking them from a startup to, hitting their first million and making 20-30% growth year after year. And I don't know, I think the biggest reward is when you truly help somebody achieve what they're looking to, obtain as a goal. Whether it's a revenue goal, launch a new product, hiring new people, being a stronger leader in their community, a stronger leader in their home. That's a sense of accomplishment for me. Those are levels of success, some of those are priceless, honestly.
Yeah, I love hearing these because I get the pleasure of asking people, and I've had other VIP guests like yourself, and they're going, yeah, I've worked with this celebrity, this, that, the other thing, and you're just rattling off. You're like, oh, GM, Adobe, some smaller companies, and it's like these are huge companies, but some of my favorite success stories are also, the person you were able to go, I don't know if this is possible, to it is possible, and then take them to the next level where you help them grow. That's a huge success story, because it's a lot, GM losing $200 million or Adobe losing $100 million, whatever. They don't care. That's like $10 for them. But someone going from 100,000 to $1 million, that's a huge jump. That's like life changing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And, I don't always have those kind of stories. Sometimes in my ventures, especially, I've lost a lot, but you learn how to get back up and go back out there and fight. And every time I've done that, Mario, I'll tell you, I become a better and stronger person. And when I do take on a new client, I am a better, resource for them than before, because of the learnings that I've embraced. And it's a constant every single day, You know,
Yeah, I would
that's
have to agree. The experience you can't get back. People are like, "Oh, don't you wish you were XYZ age?" I hear all the time, and it's like, no,
no,
because there is nowhere's near the confidence in the experience. When you have one client, it's a lot different than
yeah,
300 plus, 1,000 plus. You know, the experience you can't get back, and the confidence, yes, it goes a little bit up and through the roof. And at that point, you're
yeah,
untouchable as far as I'm concerned.
absolutely. Yeah.
So, with everything you've done, tell
Mhm.
me a little bit about your show. What made you get into wanting to produce your own show?
Well, that's so I met he's a good friend of mine. He's like my brother. It's his name is Stephen Edward, very well known in Detroit. His tagline is, you know, I'm Stephen Edward and I sell Detroit. And I met him at one of our favorite little hangouts in Sterling Heights called Partridge Creek. It's Cellar 59, a little wine bar. And over some time, you know, met him there, and then I think probably like a couple months later, I started following him on the internet there and all these different social channels. I really liked what he was doing in a real estate perspective. At this time, I hadn't yet gotten my real estate license, and we connected, and there was a lot of synergy there. So I was like, what if we took my marketing and your real estate, and we brought something really magical, really powerful together. And then through that process, I went and got my real estate license, and so now I do have my license. But my focus is on the show is more the lifestyle side. Steven is the expert in real estate. So when we start to talk about the show, we were like, well, we really got to do something unique and different. We want to disrupt real estate in such a positive way. But how do we do that? Oh, we got to go beyond. 30 days later, we're sitting there talking about, every time we talked about, we kept saying beyond listing. And I looked at him, and Steven looks at me and goes,